Jazzcast Pros.
With drinking and my experience in coaching, a lot of people, including me, kind of don't address it seriously until there's a crisis or January 1st, right? which I've done too. But, for me, the crisis was COVID. But I did end up going into a coaching program that said, hey, try this for 90 days. And I'm like, gosh, I've never quit drinking for 90 days. I wonder what that feels like. So I joined the coaching program and my life transformed like it was nobody's business. I recognized that all of the things I learned in the program, God had already told me about. I just wasn't paying attention, right?
How about that?
Yeah.
Welcome to Living the Front Seat Life podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kelly Marie, and I am just a woman in this world living my life with several mental health disorders. And I share my story on this journey of recovery, of all of the tools of therapy, of medication, all of the things that I have been through and implemented in this walk towards mental health wellness. And I encourage you to join the journey with me. So please like, subscribe, and share. If you hear something that you like, let someone else know and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. You can leave a comment right here on the format that you're listening to this podcast, or you can reach out to me at frontseatlife@gmail.com. Also on Instagram at thefrontseatlife. Now, I really enjoyed being able to talk with Roseanne because she speaks about her journey and how writing during her journey, writing about the process while she's in the process, really produced something that I think you would enjoy. I've ordered my own copy of the book and I'm in Buffalo in a snowstorm, so it won't be delivered anytime soon. But when it does get here, I'm looking forward to chronicling my own journey with kicking some habits that I have. So join me on this episode of Living the Front Seat Life podcast.
If you've been thinking about starting a podcast and you want to include interviews with people across town, Riverside.fm offers unbelievable high-quality recordings regardless of your or your guest internet quality. And it also gives you separate audio and video tracks for each person speaking. It's high-tech, but easy to use. And unlike Zoom, you don't have to install anything on your computer, and your guests don't either. Riverside.fm is the leading platform to record studio-quality audio or video podcast. They even have a really cool video editor to help you make content for social media. Head over to riverside.fm and use promo code JazzyCast to get 60 free minutes of recording and 15% off a membership plan. The link is in the show notes. Now back to Living the Front Seat Life podcast on the Jazzcast Pros Network.
So I recently had the opportunity to sit down with Ann Forte. Now, she has written a book called The Plans He Has for Me, and it chronicles her journey in kicking her habit of alcohol.
I've been listening to a lot of your podcasts, and then where we really connect, I think, is I suffered from, depression during a really horrible marriage. And when it ended, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And while I didn't commit suicide, and I listened to many of your suicide things, I definitely used to pray to God that he would take me off the earth. I went to a lot of psychologists and counselors, and I guess the thing I would like your listeners to know is I never admitted that I had a problem with alcohol, because I would just think they'd go, well, that's your problem. You need to go to AA. And I was like, not telling you that.
Right.
But when I gave up I did a lot of personal work, right? But when I gave up the alcohol, I also didn't need counseling anymore. And psychotherapy. So I just think that's an important thing for people that are what I call secretly suffering, thinking there's no other option.
Your story resonates. I really had this epiphany that I wasn't really being authentic. and I wasn't sharing all the bits and pieces. And so you talking about the piece about alcohol, like going to therapy and doing all the work and learning all the tools and, all of the things that they teach you and you work to do. But there's a piece that you don't share. Like, is that piece the key? Like, is that piece the thing that needs to be worked on in order for all this other stuff to fall into place? Especially when it comes to therapy and acknowledging issues and problems, people don't feel comfortable telling strangers all their business. And so you go for the basic stuff and the really intimate things that we know God knows, because God knows everything, we keep to ourselves, or maybe we, will share with someone that won't, judge us, but that might be the one thing that needs to be addressed. So how did you get to having this awakening, knowing that you needed to address your drinking? I know that you did not consider yourself and do not consider yourself an alcoholic. Can you just talk about that journey, that process to get here?
Yeah, I think, like many people, you kind of fall into the societal pressures and joys of drinking for a variety of reasons, whether it's fun, friendship, romanticism, stress, checking out of life. And I think the latter two really is probably where the real problems start happening, when you use it to, go to sleep or not deal with something or whatever. And then one day, you start noticing your health being affected, like losing weight. You start noticing your mental health deteriorating because you do all these mental gymnastics, like only on weekends, only after 5, only with other people, only on a holiday, only on vacation, right? But you never kind of follow through on that. And every time you don't keep your word, you lose confidence in yourself, right? For me, the crisis was COVID. In March of 2020, right before it was hitting the United States, I was like, I'm going to die if I don't address this problem, because alcohol depresses the lung function, it depresses
Mm-hmm.
your immune system. And I just quit cold turkey out of fear. Now, I do not think that would have lasted long. And so I joined the coaching program, and my life transformed like it was nobody's business, right? I had
Wow.
self-confidence, and I was joyful. I had lost weight. My blood pressure was down. I started exercising / walking. I had good habits. I developed a morning routine. I mean, just all these wonderful things. And I just, when you start comparing, do you want to go back to where you are? And I'm like, no, I was just too afraid to even, entertain that option. Life is just too good. And I ended up working for that company after, because I was just so incredibly jazzed about the transformation. And I ended up being an enrollment coach and client journey coach. So I got to talk to a lot of people, and a lot of them were Christians as well. Just lots of guilt and shame, and it really is a science-based approach. It's like more neurological habit-based. I mean, there's obviously a component of there's a substance, right? But once you detox your body from the substance, you're still dealing with a bad habit, right? And a neurological pathway that's pretty stubborn. I mean, if you just think about Romans 12:2, renewing your mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what neuroplasticity is, which is a new science on rewiring your brain. And so I just started documenting. The name of it is The Plans He Has for Me. And that was named because one point during my divorce and my depression diagnosis, I was reading that verse and going, you got to be kidding. Like, you have a plan for me, God? Like,
Right.
what could that be? But
Right.
I did walk in faith, and here I am, like almost 3
Mm-hmm.
years later. There's a book written. I've got confidence back. It's changing lives. I just feel like the power of the Holy Spirit. So I just I want people to know that there's a different life, that this substance lies to us. And when you get on the other side of it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is the joy that God meant us to have, right? It's not that life is perfect, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we still have the ups and downs of life, but when you have overcome this, you develop this self confidence like, okay, I'm having a bad day. Or, like you talked about, just being aware of what's going on and aware of the funk or the place you're going to and just redirecting it. And that's another one of my absolute favorite verses, which is 2 Corinthians 10:5, which is basically capture your thoughts and make them obedient to Christ. So that when we start beating ourselves up and being bullies with ourselves, we go, that is not a godly thought, right? I gotta get rid of it.
I muted myself because I wanted to make sure your voice is coming through clear. And so I'm over here. Yes. Yep. That's right. And you can't hear me say any of it. But
Well, thanks
I'm
for
with you.
giving me the stage.
So I was a very heavy drinker before my suicide attempt in 2013. And it was my method of escape. Like it was, I mean, I drank wine like it was going out of style, like bottles on stock. Like that was just what I thought I needed. And it took me getting to the bottom to realize that I didn't need it at all. And everybody's different and everybody's journey is different. Their stories are different, but, some people may need to, walk a different path. But I think when you are in a place, and so similarly for me, it was not an addiction. It was a place of safety. It was a place of comfort. I mean, I was drunk. It wasn't really comfortable, right? But like, that's what I told myself. That's what I felt I needed. And I don't think I would have told you before my suicide attempt that I could stop drinking. Afterwards, a totally different story, right? But before that moment, because it was a part of my life. It was there. It hadn't always been there, but it grew into this overwhelming piece of my life. And I mean, I don't know how my kids, Roseanne, I don't know. But by the grace of God, there's so many nights I don't know how I got home. I don't know what my kids ate. I don't know. I can't tell you anything really about that era, to if you want to call it that, of my life. The alcohol just clouded my life. It just clouded everything. And that was coupled with depression and, having this borderline personality disorder diagnosis, which is just the body, the brain adapting to the trauma that it's been through. It's not that it's some, weird, the diagnosis sounds, I think, worse than
Right. It
the
does.
actuality of what it is, but it's the body coping. It's the body reacting to trauma and all of the things.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Rob. Yes, I am the host of Father Torch. I would like to take this time to invite you in my discussions on very, very important topics of being a Black and brown father in today's society. Being a parent, the other parent, we face trials and tribulations too. We have worries, we have feelings. Here at Father Torch, we promote the advocacy of being the dad you wish you had. Join me at fathertorch.com.
I appreciate your journey and being able to identify with someone who was on this path and was like, this is not how I'm supposed to be living, right? This is just not for me. So when you decided to document your journey, were you thinking like, this is something I'm going to share with the world? Was it, a calling? Did you just feel led to, kind of put pen to paper? Was it for you that you were documenting? How did you get to that place?
I really like that question only because I've just recently discovered the answer to it. Because, the plans he has for me, a lot of the things I do in coaching and in the devotional is, what God-given gifts do you have? Because you can't just take something out of your life, i.e. alcohol. What are you going to put back in? What have you always wanted to do? What did you give up, right? What have you put off and not done because this habit is taking so much time out of your life? And it occurred to me, and honestly, very recently, that I have always wanted to write a book. There were so many books in my life that I thought I was going to write, and I had names for them and I started outlines and I never did it. So when I started documenting this, yes, it was kind of like, I want to do a daily devotional. And, at the time I thought I could marry it with the secular program, to help Christians and have kind of a Christian division. But, it just didn't end up that way. And I just felt like God calling me to really use this. The coaching programs that I was a part of were very expensive. And it really killed me that these methodologies were not available to people who can't afford lots of money to solve these problems. And so, the devotional is my way to deliver a methodology and God. 84 straight days with God talking about the problem. The other thing that I realized in hindsight is that when I did put pen to paper, it was so soon after my personal journey of going through that I could really document the feelings that I was going through, like on a day by day basis, or, here's what happened the first 4 weeks and the second 4 weeks and the last 4 weeks. If I were to have waited and done that today, I could not have gotten the product that I have in that book because it was so raw and authentic to that time frame. And so I'm just really grateful. I really feel like it was inspired by the Holy Spirit. I feel like he used my gifts and my dreams to work for his kingdom.
I want to make sure that we get your website in there, theplanhehasforme.com. But if someone is interested in walking this journey with you, I know that you offer coaching, and is it one-on-one coaching work? What could
Right
people
now,
expect?
it's group coaching, but I will be offering one-on-one for people that want it, because some people can do it with the devotional alone, which is $9.95 on Kindle, and if you want the paperback version, it's $19.95 on Amazon. But yeah, www.theplansehasforme.com, and there you can either purchase the book or download for free. I call it the Kickstart method for alcohol freedom. And those are kind of my best ideas about how to stay the path. And so that you can download for free. And I just bravely, fearlessly started a TikTok channel like 3 days ago, and Instagram. And that's at Roseanne Forte Plans. So yeah, I'm being fearless from
You
someone
are.
yeah.
I'm not going to lie. TikTok scares me. I'm on Instagram and I haven't learned Reels. And I love technology, but I don't know what it is about social media. These two platforms have just like, so to hear you saying that you started TikTok, you're giving me hope. I think maybe possibly, I'll see, but
Yeah, I'd like to
I'd love to
encourage
hear
you to
it.
do that, because there's no downside really.
Mhm.
And what my kids have been telling me I needed to do TikTok forever, and I actually went to a conference and I met a guy who wrote a book, and very very similar to me, just kind of hopeful. And he worked for TikTok, and I'm like, okay,
Wow.
now you're going to tell me how to do this, okay? He inspired me. Now I'd like to inspire you.
Thank you. And I am going to order the book. I believe that I replaced alcohol with sugar.
Oh, me too. I did that too. And I just gave it up. Actually, it's funny. So, the reviews that I'm getting on Amazon, most of them say, "Oh my gosh, this is good for all habits." And I think it is. But I just gave up sugar. I believe in community. And when you buy the book, you also get into a private Facebook group of, kind of like-minded people. And
Okay.
I tried to give up sugar so many times. And you know what finally did it? In my coaching program, I said, you guys are giving up alcohol for 12 weeks. I'm giving up processed sugar. And it was that declaration and accountability that made me not go to Dunkin' Donuts when I missed my flight.
Wow.
It is there's something about declaring it and making yourself accountable.
I've made it a couple days, a couple of times. Um, but I know it hurts my body. I actually did an episode on sugar a while back, and actually a couple episodes, because this has been a long-standing issue. But, people, they are kind of like, "Oh, Kelly, please, it's just sugar. It's not that big of a deal. Come on." And it really is that big of a deal.
Well,
Um,
Kelly, didn't to me, it looked exactly like my alcohol habit. Exactly. I could feel my brain light up. I could feel the lack of control. It was bad.
yeah.
But now I'm telling you, I'm almost 6 weeks in and it's gone. And I really do view it the same as alcohol. Like there's nothing positive that's happening to my body by consuming that. And I care about my body. I care about my health. I care about my, you know, being obsessed with something, which I was. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would say declare it and forum that will keep you accountable.
All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to order the book first. I'm going to do that. And so if you are interested in learning more and starting a plan to be alcohol free, sugar free, habit free, check out her book, The Plan He Has for Me. It's on Amazon. You can get the electronic Kindle version. You don't have to get the paper copy. I need paper in my life, so I'm ordering the book. And the website is theplansheHasforme.com. Any last minute takeaways, anything you want folks to know?
There really is hope on the other side of this. It's so hard to see, but you have to trust the process. And I'm there for you if you need it. So yeah, thank you for having me, Kelly Marie.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And I mean, this can easily be, rebranding and going on a whole new journey, whole new path with breaking habits. It started with alcohol, but I mean, there's a life of habits that people have that need help. We need help breaking them. We need help
Well, and that's
breaking the
the thing.
cycle.
I would, after having done this, I would suggest that every 12 weeks, and that's what I plan on doing. I'm gonna break one other habit, and I think getting one under your belt gives you confidence for the next
Mhm.
one. You and I both know that this is a game of of confidence, right? To get
It
through
is.
the difficult times.
I cannot wait. The sugar thing it's been rough, and I can feel it in my body and how my body responds to it. It hurt. Like my body hurts when I eat a lot of
Yeah.
sugar.
Yeah, and I'll just be honest. I mean, when I ate sugar, it wasn't a little bit of sugar. It was a bag of candy, right?
Yeah.
Well, I tried not to let it disgust me because being guilty and shame, I just started looking at it like,
Mm.
oh, this is really interesting. I feel like crap, like you're saying, when I do it. I don't like the result. And it was difficult for the first month. I'm finally getting through it. And now, I already made it over Halloween without candy, right? But now I get to do Thanksgiving and Christmas. My 12 weeks ends on December 26th.
Oh, wow. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And so if I can make it through there, I don't know if I want to even dare pick it up again, because I
Right.
do finally feel better. And I would say get lots of fruit. Like, I don't need the fruit anymore, but when I first did, it's like bananas, pineapple, like anything. I do allow myself natural, like honey and maple syrup were the two things that I allowed because they're natural. Okay. So what I said, no processed sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't even need the fruit.
That's huge.
It is. So,
and like, I am not adverse to vegetables. I love them. I can eat vegetables all day, but I'm going to couple that with a party sized bag of Skittles. Like, it just, that is what it is.
I gotcha. I hear you. I feel you. I did it. Yeah. I feel like I'm for the first time ever on the other side of it. So. It gives me confidence to take the next thing off the table. Have you read Atomic Habits?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's about making small changes and them eventually being big. And so that's kind of my process right now is I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do processed bread other than maybe Ezekiel. I'm just going to take it off the table every 12 weeks because it's about playing the long game. We just try and change everything all at once, and it's overwhelming.
And not realistic. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. Like, one of the paragraphs I was reading, and you talk about like being on autopilot and how the brain works and how we're built to, build in habits. How do you get from work to home and you're not really paying attention to where you're driving, or, like me being on autopilot, besides the grace of God get me home, but, still knowing the directions to go without having to really think about it. The brain needs order, it needs structure, and I'm going to give mine some more.
Yeah, well, keep in touch and let me know.
I will. I will.
Hey, if you like this episode, check out Getting Real with Bossy, where we chat about what it's like to be a woman business owner.
You'll hear interviews with women who are doing what it takes to succeed and the reality of what that looks like.
We cover all the topics, figuring out the rules and regulations, navigating business partnerships,
even if that's your spouse, motherhood while running a business, working within your values,
and all the ups and downs of being the boss.
Are you ready to get real? Pop over to our podcast, Getting Real with Bossy.
Roseanne, thank you so much. I enjoyed our time together, and I cannot wait for people to be able to listen to your journey, to be able to go through your devotional, go through the book, and walk their own journey in quitting a habit of their choice. If you're interested in learning more about Ann Forte's journey, her story, and ordering her 12-week daily devotional, you can find out more about her at theplansheHasForMe.com. Until the next time, if you are in crisis, please dial 911 or head to your nearest emergency room. If you need someone to talk to, dial 988 on your phone. It is the number for the crisis prevention line. And if you're looking for resources, you need someone to talk to ask some questions of how to find some information, you can always dial 211 or go to 211 in your browser. Thank you for just being with me on this journey. Yeah, it's been really impactful. And I just, next week I'll have a story to tell you. But until then, be the way.